live at 5 p.m. weekdays on YouTube. Join the conversation on 0808 17 17 700. Talking Scottish football first.
The weekend is well and truly here. Good evening, Paul Cooney with the Go Radio Football Show with Scottish Gas. Welcome to the winning team. Barry Ferguson knows all about winning teams. Evening, Barry.
How you doing, Paul?
Really well, thank you. And Mark, tip-top night for you.
Yep, looking forward to it, Paul. Friday night, big weekend ahead.
And it all kicks off tonight, of course. It's Championship, it's D-Day. We know St Johnstone are up as champions, but who's going to come second, third and fourth? It's the final countdown for those games ahead of the playoffs. And of course, Livy, is it their last stand against Aberdeen as they get ready to go down? Or are they going to surprise everybody by winning at home tonight? But when we know what we're getting ready for the weekend when, well, Sunday, Hibs against Celtic, 12 o'clock, high noon. And Martin Neal, we'll hear from him shortly, saying to Hibs fans, hey, come on, stop saying that your team are going to be turned over by Celtic because they don't want Hearts to win. This is going to be a tough game. And then we're going to hear from Danny Rule and Derek McInnes ahead of, well, it's the game of the weekend, Hearts against Rangers. They're both equally important, of course they are. But Mark, we'll start first of all, breaking news in the last few minutes. The SPFL, who met yesterday to discuss Celtic's request that no Union Bears are allowed into Celtic Park as part of the allocation for the Old Firm game the following weekend. They've now come out with a judgment which seems to be hard to read, but it looks as though they're going with Celtic. But Rangers will get the tickets, but they're asking them not to give them to Union Bears. Is that your reading of the situation?
Yeah, I mean, I have to point the SPFL statement. It's not overly clear, Paul. It's, you know, it takes 11 paragraphs to actually get to the point, which is ridiculous. So the headline is that the SPFL subcommittee have basically gone with Celtic, as in Rangers will get the normal allocation that they were due, but they have decided that Celtic's caveat of the preferences for the Union Bears not to receive any of that allocation, the SPFL has upheld that and gone with Celtic and decided to go against Rangers. When you get through all the waffle and the statement, basically the key point is Celtic remains willing to offer the amount of tickets to Rangers that they had undertaken to provide in their reciprocal agreement, and that allocation remains available to Rangers. However, the subcommittee then determined that based on the evidence presented, it would not overrule a risk assessment carried out by the party legally responsible, i.e. Celtic, for the safety and security of the event. Now, so that means Rangers will receive the allocation, 5% of the stadium capacity. Rangers can then distribute that, but the SPFL have basically told them, distribute your tickets, but we need to go along with Celtic's request of none of the tickets being given to the Union Bears.
Barry, your reaction. So 2,500 tickets going to Rangers, but they don't want them there with the balaclava wearing Union Bears. What can Rangers do on this?
I really don't know. First and foremost, I'm just happy that Rangers have got the allocated, 5%, 2,500 roughly, tickets made available to the fans. That's the most important thing. But who gets them? Who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? My main concern leading up to this statement was that Rangers weren't going to get any tickets. But there was an agreement in place. Now, that agreement's been said by the SPFL that they'll give Rangers the 2,500, or Celtic will give Rangers the 2,500. So whoever gets the tickets, who knows? I'm just happy that Rangers are going to have supporters inside that stadium a week on Sunday.
We'd love to see fans on both sides behaving, wouldn't we? Because it's, well, Barry, you call it the greatest derby in the world.
Yeah, listen, I've said it plenty of times when you've got both sets of supporters inside the stadium, whether that's at Ibrox or Parkhead, it creates an unbelievable atmosphere. Now, I've been lucky enough, Paul, over the years to play in it. And I was lucky enough to manage in it towards the end of the season. Albeit it was only 2,500, but they came, they sang, they made their noise known. And also, Celtic fans created the atmosphere. I just like it that, but is it going to continue like that into next season? My worry is, no. I've got a slight feeling that this could be the end of the ticket allocation.
Really? And that would be this will diminish the
And
fixture.
do you know what? I don't like to say it because I think it makes the fixture special when you have both sets of supporters. But just all the shenanigans that's went on over the last 10 days or so, it really worries me that it might go back to the way it was previous, which I don't want to see.
Mark, I remember what you said after the Cup semi-final. You were worried about trouble and going forward. I mean, it looked as though we were getting to a position where you're getting more opposition fans in, and that's what football's about. It's fans.
Yeah, I think, Paul, my stance on this for probably about the past year or so is that we were heading towards a situation that Barry's talking about. And I think, for me, I don't have a slight doubt. I think it's absolutely certain that come the start of next season, the four Old Firm games, league games next season, 2 at Parkhead, 2 at Ibrox, it'll be 60,000 Celtic fans at Parkhead and 50,000 Rangers fans at Ibrox. I think there will be zero allocation next season. I think deep down that's probably what both club in terms of hierarchies want in the current climate. I think it probably suits the police as well and the various authorities that get involved. For the game itself, it's a shocker. It's not what football people would want, but I think we're absolutely heading towards that, and an agreement will be put in place.
Well, earlier today, before this news came out, Danny Rule was asked about fans getting into the game at Celtic.
Yeah, of course, we hope to have all supporters with us. I think, generally, such a game should be always with great supporters on both sides. I think that makes the football really exciting. That's the reason why we love the sport. But it's not my job to decide this. I can just cross my fingers and hope that everything goes well in our direction as well.
Barry, the fixture is not going to be the same in the future if this is what happens, that not enough people can behave themselves. What an indictment. It's really bad, isn't it, for Scottish football, especially for Glasgow, a brilliant city. We believe we're from Glasgow, greatest in the world. We can't have opposition fans.
Listen, the 3 years I've been at the games when there's both sets of supporters and the atmosphere is, as I said, it's an incredible atmosphere to be involved in, and it worries me that it might go back to the way it was in previous years, which I don't want to see, if I'm being brutally honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, I look at it now, Paul. So Celtic have given this caveat, this condition that you can have your allocation, but we don't want anything going to the Union Bears on the back of what happened at Ibrox on the pitch in the cup tie, whatever that was, 4 or 5 weeks ago. So the natural response to that, because bearing in mind what happened 7-8 years ago, Dave King took Celtic's long-held allocation, the Broomloan stand away from them for season tickets. So Celtic then responded by doing the same thing for Celtic Park. So therefore, I think what would happen next season is the first game of the season will be at Celtic Park. I think, unless I'm correct, yes, it will be. It'll be at Celtic Park, the first clash, and Celtic will go for this again, and Rangers will then reciprocate for which would probably be the New Year fixture around about that. But we're definitely heading towards that. For me, Paul, there's no doubt this has been in the making for the best part of a year now.
0808 17 17 700, what do you think? Because we're so looking forward to this weekend. The twists and the turns. It's Glasgow against Edinburgh. Starts on Sunday. Hibs against Celtic. And then Monday, the holiday Monday, 5:30 kick-off. Celtic, of course, at 12 on Sunday. And then 5:30, holiday Monday, Hearts against Rangers. And before that, what about the games? Dundee against St Mirren. St Mirren badly need points. Falkirk against Motherwell. What about Stephen Reside last night on the programme? Absolutely brilliant. Speaking about Motherwell and also the Disability Forum next week at Perth. More about that during the programme. And Kilmarnock, are they in trouble? Kilmarnock against Dundee United, although I think all our pundits feel that the Premiership team will probably beat whoever comes up. And is it going to be Arbroath, Dunfermline, or Glasgow's own Partick Thistle? What do you think? 0808 17 17 700. So Rangers are getting the tickets, 2,500. But the stipulation is that Celtic don't want them to go to the Union Bears. That's the summary. A number of people sending some comments. On the football itself, who will we hear from first? Let's hear from Martin O'Neill. What about all this chat about Hibs fans? Maybe 70-80% of the Hibs fans would rather lose to Celtic if it stops Hearts winning the title. What does the Celtic manager say?
I can maybe understand that maybe some Hibs fans wouldn't want Hearts to win the league. But that's good enough. That won't cross over to their one, to their team selection, two, to the coaching staff. Absolutely not, and to the players. In fact, I think they would be more invigorated by news of that there. So that's, if I could call upon some Hibs fans to refrain from that, that would help. But no, I get it. I understand that. I'm quite sure here it would be something similar for some Celtic fans. Might not want our closest rivals to, I don't mean closest in the sense, and ones that are pretty well not too far away to win the league as well too. So I don't know.
Barry, do you ever see a player once they go over that line lying down to the opposition?
No, listen, I totally agree with what Martin and Neil says there. Look, I get it for the Hibs supporters, no doubt, but in terms of David Gray's coaching staff and his players, they'll be going out there on Sunday afternoon to try and get 3 points. There's no doubt in my mind about that. They're professionals, Paul. That's what you're paid to do. You're paid to go and produce good performances and good results. So I firmly believe that Hibs will go out there and try and get the 3 points against Celtic.
Mark, looking forward to it.
Oh, but a cracking game. You've gone through the fixtures, Paul. All starts tonight as well in the Championship with Livy v Aberdeen. But on that, Hibs have got a chance of getting into fourth place. Probably a bit of a long shot, to be honest, but they've got a chance. And you think about it as well, most clubs, Paul, because of the top six and the chance of European football, you earn more money from the SPFL the higher up you are in the league. So therefore, the players would earn bigger bonus money from and David Gray and the staff from being in fourth position rather than fifth. So I get all the noise with supporters and diddly dum diddly dee. But as a footballer or as a manager, I genuinely do not believe for a minute that any Hibs player or David Gray will go out on Sunday with the attitude of let's Celtic win. I genuinely don't believe that for a sec. And see if Hibs score. If they take the league or they win the game, you're going to tell me Hibs fans won't celebrate beating Celtic, the current champions of Scotland, on their own patch live on the telly? Don't believe it for a minute.
What about the game, Hearts against Rangers? Danny Rule, he's talked about it. What is it, the finals final?
I think this is a tough place to go. When I remember when we played in December there, I think the first 30 minutes we were very strong. We controlled the game well. We scored. Unfortunately, it was very close offside situation. And then we come to the strength. I think next to us, they have also the most set play goals. And this is the challenge what we have. Second ball, long ball, cross ball. You have to defend really aggressive and always online. If you do this well, then you have a great opportunity to take something.
He also says, Barry, as you know, wow, a bit loud there, isn't it? Danny wasn't so loud. He's a bit laid back there, isn't he? But he does say that even if it's, well, I don't want to misquote him, but he didn't say it's all over, whatever happens. What do you feel?
Paul, they have to go there and win the game. If they have any aspirations of winning this league title, they need to go to Tynecastle at 5:30 on Monday to get 3 points.
A draw?
No good enough.
Got to be 3 points.
Yeah, I firmly believe that. Look, if they go and they get a draw, I'm not saying it's totally over, but in my opinion, they have to go there and come back down the M8 with 3 points in the bag if they want to win the league title.
Mark, what do you feel?
Yeah, I feel they have to win. Rangers need to go to Tynecastle and win. They can't afford to have dropped 6 points from the opening two games, or indeed a draw, dropping 5 points. Because remember, some people may just, Celtic. No, it's not about catching Celtic. Hearts are 4 points ahead of you. So you need to go and eat into Hearts' lead. It's not about Celtic. Even if Celtic don't win on Sunday, Easter Road, Rangers need to beat Hearts. And I said at the start of the split, Paul, if Hearts get 6 points from their opening two games, I do think they'll become champions. So they're halfway there. And Rangers need to go to Tynecastle and win, which is a huge ask, considering the performance. I agree with Danny Rowe. I know he's not the most upbeat. I'm not criticising for that. No. Each to their own. Sure. But he does still he sounds still kind of really low and really, really flat in that presser there today. But for me, there's no doubt, Barry knows what he's talking about. He's been a champion with Rangers time after time after time. And anybody that's been realistic would say that with 4 games to go, you're 4 points behind the league leaders. You need to beat them on Monday night to have any chance of becoming champions this season.
We're going to go on the lines now. Before that, Monty's been on saying, guys, Rangers are not going to have supporters at Celtic, not unless they agree to the conditions. Why doesn't anyone understand this? But Rangers, as we understand it, I mean, it's as clear as mud, the statement from the SPFL, but it's saying, yes, it's going with Celtic, but the tickets will go to Rangers, and Rangers shouldn't then sell the tickets in a ballot to the Union Bears. I mean, in the real world, it's really difficult to decide who's actually going to get them. Kevin's on the line, a Celtic fan. Hi, Kevin. Good evening.
How you doing, boys? How are you? Okay?
Yeah, good.
Hey, Kevin.
Thank you. What's in your mind tonight?
It's just about the announcement about the tickets. Now I'm kind of split a wee bit, but I'm going to go with, first of all, I think personally, in terms of the safety of fans, especially younger fans in the game, I think Celtic have to be commended for doing an investigation and the risk assessment and make sure that the trouble doesn't reach the games. Because remember, Celtic have got a responsibility, in my opinion. They don't get just a responsibility to protect Celtic fans. They've got a responsibility to protect those Rangers fans that are there, not to cause trouble, but they're there to enjoy a game of football.
Yeah.
You've got to remember that there'll be mums and dads in that Rangers end with kids, and they deserve to be protected just as much as anybody else, in my opinion, obviously. And I think having guys there, the Union Bears, why Rangers want fans in their stadium anyway that are wearing balaclavas is beyond me anyway. I don't know why you would even allow that, to be honest.
Well, we don't know that. I don't think Rangers want that to be the case. But you know what it's like, controlling younger people these days in society is difficult. So I don't think Rangers are saying, "Oh, we want you to come in balaclava on." They shouldn't have balaclavas on. You're absolutely right.
No, I get what you mean. I maybe worded that wrong, but I don't think that there should be people there like that anyway. And I think after the behaviour, obviously Celtic fans misbehaved at the semi-final as well. I totally get that. But after Rangers fans in balaclavas, whether they were Union Bears or no, I don't know, but attacking Celtic players as they were leaving the pitch, what did they think was going to happen? The Celtic got a responsibility to protect their staff as well.
Yep.
The other side of me does say, Barry, I totally agree. What makes the Celtic Rangers fixture one of the best in the world, is having all those Rangers fans at Celtic Park, all the Celtic fans at Ibrox. It makes it brilliant, and to me, if it goes back to the way it was with A fans, it'll be kind of like the death of the fixture. As you know, again, I go on about it. A massive fan of Boca Juniors in South America.
Yep.
That fixture's dead now because they don't allow each other's fans in because of the trouble 2 years ago. The Libertadores, there's no fans, and the fixture is dead. It's no longer the same. It's not as intense. It's lost its intensity, and I just think that's the way that the Celtic Rangers game will go. However, both clubs have got a responsibility first and foremost to protect both sets of fans, and I think Celtic have done that.
Mark, hard to disagree, isn't it?
I mean, Celtic, the key, as much as a lot of it's waffle, and it takes an age to get there, and you know, it's not necessary if it takes longer. But the key point that the SPFL subcommittee have made is, again, just to reiterate, Kevin, the SPFL subcommittee determined that, based on the evidence presented, it would not overrule a risk assessment carried out by the party legally responsible for the safety and security of the event. So Celtic's the home team in this case. They've put forward their case and they've put forward their reasons why. I know that they've been in conjunction with various authorities, the police, and the SPFL have gone on that. What Celtic would want as the host team, legally responsible for the safety and security of the event, it says there, is they would not want in any shape or form a chance of any repeat of the scenes at full time after the Scottish Cup game. And Celtic have decided this is the best way to try and safeguard their stadium. They're still getting 5,000 Rangers fans in, but less than 3,000. But it's with that caveat of who Rangers give it to. So listen, what we don't want to see, because of the ugly scenes that happened at the end of the cup tie. So Celtic, as the host club, have decided this is the best way to try and avoid any such scenario, and the authorities have gone along with it.
Kevin, see on the football itself before you go, here's Martin O'Neill speaking about the game at the weekend. Any injury news? What's the situation at his club?
No, we're pretty good. Alistair Johnson has done a week's work as well too, so that's encouraging. No, we're okay. Nothing new.
So what do you feel for the match? What do you reckon? Sunday at 12?
Well, Paul, I think it's a big bonus that Hibs have got a couple of people missing. They've got their fullbacks missing, their keepers missing. Celtic will get players back. I think I'm looking forward to it. To be honest, I totally, in my opinion, Hearts in the driving seat. Totally, I agree with Mark. However, where I disagree is if Hearts win their opening 2 games, they'll be champions. I disagree with that. I think if Hearts win their first 2 games, they've done great. But if Celtic can beat Hibs and claw the goal difference back, the league is still in Celtic hands as well if we can shut that down. So if we can go and take 3 goals after Hibs and win, and maybe Hearts only maybe Hearts beat Rangers 1-0, 2-1, whatever, we're cutting out that goal difference. If we can get to the last game of the season 3 points behind, but the goals difference is maybe only 2 goals, I think it's going to be in for a blockbuster last game of the season. So I'm looking forward to this weekend. Celtic 3-0, hopefully.
Just what Kevin says there, that's my worst weekend ever.
Kevin, he's barging.
He makes a good point.
No.
I forgot about that. Hibs are obviously going to be missing 2 key players.
That's right, yeah. Because of the...
I think still get strong enough squad, Hibs.
I think the goalies, just on the goalies, I don't think there's much difference between the 2 goalies.
Nah,
I
good
don't think
point.
Salinger's great,
Yeah.
to be honest, so I don't think he's a miss for him.
Kevin, thanks for your call. 0808 1717 700.
Gas. Watch live at 5 p.m. weekdays on YouTube. Join the conversation on 0808 1717 700. Talking Scottish football first.
And Paul Cooney tonight talking with Mark Guidi and Barry Ferguson. Yep, all the top brands here with Scottish Gas. I think we're cooking, Barry. Hey. Especially under the lights in here. Just cancelled the holiday. It's warm enough here in the Gorbals. Yeah.
Yeah, well, you not got a sunbed in the house, no?
That left in the 80s. Yeah.
No, I've drove past a couple of times and I see that blue light. Sometimes it's
It's a
a big
different
light.
light. It's a different light. Oh,
Was there
dear.
no ones used to put 50 pence in or something? No,
I don't look at me. I've not got a clue. I'm like Dennis Law used to call me the milk bottle at the World Cup because I was just.
I tell you,
Yeah.
listen, you're looking smart tonight.
Is that right?
Like
Thank
your
you.
jacket.
Good. Like his jacket. Okay.
Where are you,
Yeah,
where are you off to?
We're on YouTube as well.
You off?
In a quiet night
Anywhere?
after everything that's been on the go. Then so no, it's been a quiet week. Yeah. Dinner with George Clooney on. I arrived at the hotel and one of the women just checking people in said, "Oh, great to have a celebrity, Mr. Clooney." I said, "No, it's not," but she's a listener to the
where
programme.
was
She's
it?
from Kilwinning, yeah, just in Perthshire. So she's from Kilwinning, and she's a big
Near Octonarder.
Go Radio fan. So thank you for making the switch every night from 5. Barry Ferguson, Mark Guidi with me, Paul Cooney. It's going to be some weekend. A lot of fans on talking about their team and what's going to happen this weekend.
Sorry,
We heard,
sorry to
yeah.
interrupt. Who does George Clooney think's going to win the league? Did you ask him?
That's good, yeah. What was that movie that Ali was in that we never ever... Did you ever see that one? Remember it was Glenn...
A shot at glory.
No, do you know
That's
what?
it. Yeah.
I have never watched it.
I've never seen it either.
I'm going to watch it this
Oh, you're
weekend.
not missing it.
He's off to, what is it, Devil Wears Prada 2, and Barry and I are going to watch it. Well, you've got a few cinemas in the house though, haven't you, anyway? So
Here we go.
Here we go.
Major deflector.
But you'll be here Monday night. We're going to be on late on
I don't know about
Monday.
that.
He's not just sure he's changing
Who am I
his
on
mind.
with?
It's going to be some you, me, and Charlie Mulgrew.
I'll not be here.
If Charlie remembers Blackburn Rovers. I see he got his cap last week. See that? He was
I
there with
seen
Alan
that,
Shearer
yep.
in the mall. Yep. For 150 years of Blackburn or whatever.
Yeah, it was. I think
Yeah.
you get a cap if you play 100 games.
Is that what it was?
Yeah.
Yep. What if you
I
play?
think it's certain,
Training games as well. Is that?
And you couldn't make it, Barry?
No, I don't even know if I played 100 games
Did
for
you not?
Blackburn.
No.
You get injury, didn't you? You get
Aye,
your knee done.
yeah.
See, Graham Souness was up. Did you see?
No, I know he was at Edmiston House. I knew a few people that were at the event. Says it was really good. Danny Rowe popped in for 10 or 15 minutes. Went on stage with him. So yeah, I was meant to go, but I had something on, so
Okay.
couldn't make it.
Shall we hear from the managers then ahead of the games? This is Danny Rule. What's the injury news from Rangers?
John has more problems. He's brace again today. Let's see, but I think it should be okay. All the other players, looks so far so good. Yeah, I think this is a good signal for us. It's also important. Hopefully, Ryan and Tua are as soon as possible available. Let's see if it's enough for Monday, but then we have still one more week for the next game. And this.
I think it was that Dujon Sterling, first of all, you spoke about.
I didn't hear that right, if I'm being honest, but listen, the positive news is two Romans is going to be fit and available, it looks like it. I know he'll not be match fit, but do you know what? He's been an excellent addition in January, and for me, I would have no doubts putting him straight into the starting 11.
Let's put Derek straight on, big Rangers fan. Hi, Derek, good evening.
Evening, Paul, Barry, Mark, how are you?
How you doing, Derek?
Hi, Derek.
No bad. What do you think Barry Celtic would do if Rangers won the next 3 games and there were 2 points in front of Celtic and a point behind Hearts and they scored 2 early goals at Falkirk and it was still nothing against at Parkhead in the last game? What do you think Celtic players would do?
Right, say that again. I'm just trying to work that out.
So if Rangers won the next 3 games, right,
Mm-hmm.
and they go to the last game of the season, they're 2 points in front of Celtic, but a point behind Hearts, and they scored 2 early goals at Falkirk, and they're 2-0 up. What do you think Celtic supporters and the players would do?
Oh, so you're saying that Celtic might not try in the second half?
Yeah, well, that's what I'm asking you. What do you think?
See, to be honest with you, I've been asked this question a couple of times. If you're a professional footballer.
Yeah.
I'd be absolute shocked if Celtic didn't try in the second half. That's my honest opinion.
What do you think, Derek?
There are quite a few Celtic supporters in the Celtic team. I would be very surprised if they wanted Rangers to win the championship.
But you're a professional, aren't you? And you're playing for, your pride and everything. Mark, what's your experience?
Yeah, I mean, we've spoken about it in terms of Hibs. They're the players. The scenario on Sunday. What I'd say was, if it was Hibs v Celtic on the last day of the season, and there was a chance of stopping, Hearts have won the title, then it may well come into their minds. I genuinely don't know, but I know certainly for all supporters, the scenario that Derek's describing, I have no doubt that 100% of Celtic supporters would want Celtic to lose that game if it stopped them winning the title. But I'm not 100% sure. But what happens if Celtic need to win to finish runners up? Take that, which gets them, a better European place, etc., etc. So look, I know what you're saying. Essentially, Derek, basically saying if it comes down to the last season and it's a shootout between Rangers and Hearts, are Celtic going to lie down and let Hearts win to stop Rangers win the title? That's essentially what you're asking. Let's deal with it if that becomes a scenario on May the 16th.
Derek, what are you thinking for the game on Monday? Listen, I want to play Danny Rule to you first of all. He was asked how to beat Hearts.
I think you will have a lot of 50-50 duels. What you have to win, you have to move the ball in good areas. You have to be very active. You have to ask for the ball. This is crucial. You have to be good organized. I think you have to be smart in the duels, because if you make stupid fouls in dangerous areas, then we give them the strength for set plays as well. On the other side, if we have our best day, then I think they have also a lot of challenges to control us, and I think this is the part as well. We need now in the next 4 games, performance what is nearly and maybe sometimes over 100% to take the points. I think this is crucial now. You cannot just play 95% or just 45 minutes good football. You have to play it over the full time, and this is a big part in this game.
Derek, what are you thinking for the game on Monday?
I think they'll beat Hearts 3-1, Paul.
Right. Yep.
I think Hearts have been quite lucky in the last couple of weeks. Right. And I think Rangers will beat them. If Rangers go first, I'll beat them.
And what about Hibs Celtic? What do you reckon?
2-0 Celtic, unfortunately.
He's always very fair, Mark. What would you say to him?
Hey, yeah, I probably do fancy Celtic to win, and it won't be easy. Hearts Rangers, a real tough one to call. But I'm going to say, at the end of the day, it has no bearing come Monday 5:30. But I have to say, listening to Danny Rowe there, he really needs to perk himself up. Yeah. Now, I don't expect him to come into the presser today singing and dancing on the back of what happened on Sunday. I get that. But I hope that in the next 48 hours, or that's just the way he is with the media today, but when he's actually working with his squad and working with his staff, he's a lot more upbeat, because, yes, it was a shocker last Sunday, losing to Motherwell, and even not getting a draw, Paul, might be all the difference between winning the league and not. But I still believe if Rangers take 12 points out of 12, if they win the next 4 games, I think they'll be champions. So I'm just kind of saying, Danny Rowe, come on, if you're the manager of Rangers, you need to be more upbeat. It just sounds far too flat, far too defeatist.
Yeah, you need to be firing the players up. Listen, I never seen that coming last Sunday, if I'm being honest with you. Before the game, I was thinking the previous game, Falkirk, but we'll no start like that again in the first half. First half, I've got to be honest with you. I said it on here. The previous game against Motherwell, I hadn't seen a team come and dominate.
That's right.
At Ibrox for the first 20-25 minutes. Motherwell dominated for the full 45 minutes. He made the change. It made a difference. You get back to 2 each. And then you just couldn't get that third goal, and I'm thinking, do you know what? A point's not the worst here. But then it was a killer at the end with the goal. But I agree with Derek. I think Rangers will go to Tynecastle and win. but they can't make any mistakes. They can't start the way they have started the last 2 games, because you're not going to continue to get away with it.
No,
They got away with it at
sure.
Falkirk, but listen, fair play to them in the second half. It was like a different team. They never get away with it against Motherwell. You're going into a hostile environment. Tynecastle Monday. You're not coming up against any surprises. You know what, the way Derek McInnes' team play. You know the way they set up. We need to be ready for it. And if we're ready for it, I firmly believe they'll get the 3 points.
And he now just needs to sound more like himself, Barry. You're not going to speak like that in the dressing room.
Yeah, listen, maybe that, Mark makes a good point. Maybe that's the way he is with the press, but I would imagine he's
not usually.
He's different inside a
Sure,
dressing room,
sure.
because this is still not over.
Absolutely.
There's 4 huge games. And I agree with Mark. If you win the next 4 games, you become the champions, I think.
Derek?
I think if they win the next 4 games, they'll be the champions, Paul. But last Mark, if he's third in the league, do you think he'll be the Rangers manager next season?
Hey, so essentially, if Rangers lose on Monday and lose to Celtic, put it this way: if Rangers fall away, Derek, and don't win those games, don't keep themselves in the hunt, I think you'll have a lot of Rangers supporters that will question whether Danny Rule is the right man. And I think if that is to be the case, I'm not saying he should lose his job. No, I'm not. But I think it would prompt a discussion with the hierarchy to really do a deep dive and, suggest. Because if you're going to make a change, do it now, do it at the end of the season, and give whoever your guy is a chance to come in and get a pre-season and really get going. So you look at Andrew Kavanagh and the hierarchy at Rangers, if they don't believe in someone, they do make a change. And I think Danny Rule, I would agree, I think Danny Rule has to keep Rangers right in it until the last minute.
Because Derek, as you know, Derek called it months before Philippe Clement left. He said he has to go. And Rangers waited and thought they were doing the right thing. But it wasn't at that point. It's going to be some few weeks for Danny Rule. If they came third...
Yeah, I'm not even looking at a few weeks. Monday nights,
sure.
the big one. It's imperative Rangers go there and get the 3 points, Paul. Nothing less. I would imagine, or I would like to think, that will be the chat amongst the players, amongst the staff, and certainly for the manager. Because Sunday was a sore one. But now that's in the past. You need to forget about that. You need to look forward. And listen, there's no better thing as a football player or a manager or a coach going to the league leaders, to a place that they've not lost in the league all season. Go and make it their first loss of the season at Tynecastle.
Good call. Derek, thank you so much. 0808 17 17 700. We're back after this.
First.
Manager of the month for April was Martin O'Neill, the Glens Manager of the month. Who's it going to be for May?
You know what happens there
What's that?
when you get Manager of the Month?
It's the curse. Are you sort of willing that? Was it manifesting, they all say now? What was wrong? Praying for it? Oh, well, it's got some end to the season, though, isn't it, Barry? Must be.
Listen, it's brilliant. 3 clubs going hammer and tong. And you look at the fixtures this weekend, Paul, not even just at the top of the league, even at the bottom of the league. Some tasty fixtures. It's been a crazy season, let's be honest. And who would have thought going into the final 4 games, Hearts would be top of the league?
Will you call Derek McInnes if he does win the title? He's been there, top of the table, since what, end of September. It's a phenomenal run.
Oh, why would I call him?
Well, because he's your old teammate. You were his governor, weren't you? You'd phone him, wouldn't you? Magnanimous.
But what an achievement if it does happen.
Yeah.
Coming into the job in the summer, and let's be honest, it was a bit of a rebuild. The amount of recruitment he had to do, brought players in, let's be honest, I'd never heard of.
Yep.
And the one that springs to mind, who was, 400 grand or so, second tier in Norwegian football, Braga. What a find he's been, amongst others. And then you've got the usual ones who have been solid for him. Finlay and Halkett at the back. So Shankland been excellent again when he's been fit. I know he was out for a while, but they've done well. I never wrote them off. A lot of people wrote them off a couple of months ago. I knew they would be there or thereabouts, but come leading into the final 4 or 5 games, I didn't think they would be top of the league. So fair play to Derek McInnes and Hearts.
Mark, is Charlie Mulgrew having to go through to Edinburgh and buy a pint in Gorgie Road? Do you think it is going to happen? What's your feeling on the 1st of May?
Yeah, right now I would have Hearts as favourites, Paul. But we're judging it. As I said on Tuesday when I was on the show, I was with a number of Rangers supporters on Monday, and it was doom and gloom. You said, well, you could flip it. Well, I mean, this time next week, as in Monday night at 7:30, Celtic might not have won at Easter Road, and Hearts go to Tynecastle won, and all of a sudden, it's really back in the melting pot again. And then you're saying 3 games to go. You know, where's the margin for error? So look, it's great. Right now, I'm still sticking with Hearts. A tough one for them, but every fixture's tough, and we're not trying to downplay the importance of them, but out with them playing each other, they're all still tough games. Paul, look at Motherwell, look at the number they did, and I said on Tuesday, speaking about it again today, what really impressed me about Motherwell was in the 90th minute on Sunday, it's 2-2, and Callum Ward collects the ball, and 9 goalkeepers out of 10 in that circumstance at Ibrox would fall to the turf and kill a few seconds. Fine. He's up, Stephen O'Donnell's on his bike, and they're away. And they're going to try and win the game, and ended up getting a winning goal. And for me, that's so impressive, and it's very, very unusual, because most people saying a draw, let's take a draw. So that really, really impressed me about Askew and his team. But generally, Paul, we say it every Friday night, but what a weekend we've got ahead. And I have to be honest, it's unusual, but I love the thought of a bank holiday Monday, 5:30, Hearts v Rangers. I mean, it's such a sexy tie. It's so mouth-watering, and you think, my God, Tynecastle is going to be absolutely jumping on Monday night.
Here's Derek McInnes speaking about his big game record.
Certainly the kind of determination to... Obviously, we get into these games normally as an underdog, and I think that we have always been an underdog this season with real belief, genuine belief. And I think we've played with a confidence and a belief that we can win the game. Even last week, or any of the derby games we've played, we've always tried to go to the wire to try and win games with a lot of late winners. The games against Rangers and Celtic have been as a good reference for me getting into these games, because we're going to have to lean on everything. But I think when it comes to this stage of the season, you just try to find that winning performance, because winning brings so much to it, and defeats can be quite damaging. And there's not a lot of room for error. But I think our record has been really strong, and I think it's down to really the determination of the team. And there's been different make-ups of the teams against different Rangers and Celtic teams. But I think the game has got a lot on it for obvious reasons. I think Rangers will look at it themselves as I think every team in with a chance of the title have still see it as they're well in it and everybody can deal with their own business. So that makes it even more exciting. And it's a game that we feel they've got a good enough record. Hopefully a good enough Monday night to win the game.
And of course the game could kick off with Celtic also on 73 points, Rangers on 69 ahead of that game. That would be the position if Celtic win. Martin O'Neill, what does he think about momentum? We talked about it last week. What does he feel now?
Done it, yeah. Still a distance to go, but we fought back. We got the late goal with Iniacho at Dens Park, which was big. And we followed it up after the cup match here. We beat St Mirren, and then we followed up after the cup game here with beating Falkirk. So we're winning some matches. We've got a lot of work to do, but we're still there fighting with a chance. I don't know. The momentum can get cut short. You think as if you've got on a roll and you're doing fine. What we've done, I think I think that some of the players are really come back to form. I think there's, Maeda's done brilliantly in recent weeks. So that's very, very encouraging for us. But we would need, we couldn't, I genuinely don't think that we would have the ability to carry two players, well below their form in games. It would be too much now at this stage. You might have been able to have done it August, September time, but not now.
Danny Rule, how will his players handle what Barry says is it's a must-win game?
Yeah, the atmosphere will be on fire. I think they fight for something. They play for a historical season, and they go all in. But we will also be ready for this. We go also there and be ready to fight this. And I think it depends how the game goes. I think this is also part. And I think this is for us important, that we understand the game, good game management. In some moments we need this. It will be in some phases of the game not the nicest one, because there will be a lot of 50-50 duels, and this is important that everyone on the pitch makes good decisions in both directions. This is crucial, and we have to focus that we bring our best football on the pitch.
Barry, we'll talk about all three managers. What would you say?
Well, it just says, yeah, and listen, I agree with him. Hearts will go all in. Mm-hmm. You need to better that.
Yeah. And why wouldn't you?
You need to better that, because you know what the Hearts are going to be like. They're going to come flying out the traps. They're going to get balls in the box. They're going to get the balls forward early. If they don't get the first ball, they'll try and get onto the second ball. So, yeah. There should be no surprises. You know what you're coming up against, and you need to better Hearts on the day. And I think if I look at both teams and both squads, I do believe Rangers have got better players. Now it's about producing the goods when it really matters, and this really matters on Monday for Rangers.
Will they play Mikey Moore from the beginning?
Yeah, he's got to.
Yep.
He's got to play Mikey Moore. As I said, on the left-hand side, alongside Romans, they've struck up a real good partnership, and he's a difference maker in the final third. He's a big game player, Mikey Moore, no doubt about it. And it's one, as a footballer, you have to look forward to. What a place to go and play as well. One of my favourite stadiums to go and play in.
Yep.
It'll be hostile, it'll be red hot, the atmosphere will be crazy. But you need to go and produce the goods when it really matters. And that was a sore one on Sunday. And what I would say to them, think back to how it felt at 4:45, 10:05 on Sunday.
And use that.
You don't want to feel like that. So you're going to the leaders. Let's go and win the game and make sure we come back down the M8 with 3 points.
Mark, as you know, what did you make of Danny Rule there?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's very downbeat, but that's what he is in the public. I hope he's different behind closed doors, and if not, he's got a couple of days to maybe still hurting, but he needs to pick himself up and make sure his players are ready for Monday. I think, Paul, listen to Barry there, a full house at Tynecastle. Hearts are obviously having the majority of the support. There'll be nerves, there'll be anxiety all round in both teams and in both technical areas, but I think Hearts will go in feeling a wee bit more better about themselves. I think if there's a touch of apprehension it will come from the Rangers players, given that for me this is their last chance, and it's the toughest venue right now to go to, because Barry said Hearts haven't lost
unbeaten
again. But what I'd say, it brings me back to what Gordon Strachan used to say ahead of Old Firm games 20 years ago. Was there certain games you pick a team to save your life, and that doesn't necessarily mean the best technicians or the best dribbler, but you pick them with the strongest mentality to find a way to win. And for me, that's what Danny Rule has to do with his team selection, and that would include Mikey Moore. Getting Romans back is fantastic because he's that kind of player for them. But other ones, you need to pick a team, because this is it. This is last chance saloon for Rangers. They must win.
I couldn't agree more with what he says. You have to pick a team that understands what they're going into, and guys who understand that they're going into the heat of the battle. For instance, just off the top of my head, I always look at the midfield. That's the engine room of a team, and I know my midfield three that I would have right now.
And what is it?
Into that game, it would be Barn, Diomande, and Raskin.
Barn, Diomande, Raskin.
Chukwani's done really well, no doubt, but I just think they three have played together a number of times, and it frees up Nico as well. Dio's got great legs, he can get about the pitch, and Connor, just that anchor there.
Do you have Tavernier on your team?
Yes, 100%.
You give us the full team after the news. That's coming.
No, I'll give you some here.
You give us Martin O'Neill playing first. Is it going to be an advantage?
Yeah, I think I said last week it's only an advantage if you win, and that was the point. So we were able to overcome Falkirk, which was great in that sense. And so there's a sense as if, well, you've done that job for the weekend, and then you just sit back. So mostly in up until the Falkirk game, we've been the one that's been playing, or we've been the ones that playing afterwards and trying to catch up. And I think after we lost at Tannadice, it was a good distance behind. So from that viewpoint, but it's only an advantage if you can win. So that's all we can do.
Mark, what an opportunity for Celtic. Go joint top of the table, 3 games after that.
Yeah, and you know, the focus of the three of them going for it and all that, but you know, I think in the past week or so, Celtic have been kind of under the radar because of the home game against Falkirk, which is fine. That was a one. Motherwell have beaten Rangers, so all of a sudden all the focus on Rangers, a lot of negativity, and Hearts have found a way to stay top of the league by beating Hibs in the Edinburgh Derby. Now game 2, is Hearts v Rangers at Tynecastle. It's the biggest game of the weekend, and you know, in terms of Rangers, the title's riding on it for them. So Celtic, I think, have just been under the radar, which has probably just kind of suited them. So if they can go Easter Road and just kind of use that to their advantage, get their job done, get their business done, and then it's over to Hearts and Rangers.
I think one key thing for Celtic watching them at the weekend against Falkirk was I didn't think they were great, but one guy stood out like a sore thumb, and he looks to me if he's back in top form. Maeda looks if he's got that bit between his teeth, and when he's like that in terms of closing people down, running, harassing, and also scoring goals, which is the hardest thing to do. So that's one key player that I'm sure, I know he's mentioned it, Martin O'Neill, but quietly he'll be buzzing with that, because you need players like that on top form, and he is hitting top form.
What's your Celtic team for the game, Mark? I'll get it after the news. 0808 17 17 700, a quick first hour. Stay with us. We're back just after this.
fans. Watch live at 5 p.m. weekdays on YouTube. Join the conversation on 0808 17 17 700. Talking Scottish football first.
Well, we saw one of the greatest games in the Champions League the other night, didn't we? 5-4. What a match. Will we see one of the best games in the Scottish League title race this weekend? Are we going to see some magic in any of the games, especially Hibs Celtic on Sunday, Hearts Rangers on Monday? But listen, a few St Mirren fans on saying, do you think, guys, are we going to be okay? We're playing Dundee this weekend. That was a big shock last weekend against Livy. Barry, do you worry a bit he started so well, young Craig McLeish, of course he did, but that was a setback last weekend.
Oh, it was a major setback, no doubt about it. Look, I thought he started off his reign as the interim manager really well. I thought they gave a good account of themselves against Celtic, but that last week was a surprise to myself. I thought St Mirren would have won that pretty comfortably, if I'm being honest with you. And listen, they're going up to Dundee, who are off the back of a thump off their neighbours, Dundee United. That's a tough one for St Mirren. They need to go up to Dens Park and come away with something for the game, because if they don't, then I think they could be in trouble, because I think Kilmarnock will win. I think Kilmarnock will beat Dundee United.
Yep. And they need it at home. Mark, who's going to come second bottom? I guess that's the question.
I think now, Paul, Livingston will go down, and I think Aberdeen will be fine. 37 will be absolutely fine for you. Aberdeen will get at least 1 point in the next 4 games. So it's 1 from 3. Dundee, St Mirren, Kilmarnock. Again, for Dundee at home to St Mirren, Stephen Presley, win today and we're 99% safe. That's all they need. You've got Kilmarnock. I think Kilmarnock need to win, Paul. I think it will come down to, I thought Dundee really might get dragged in. I think Dundee will win at Dens Park on Saturday, and it will come down to Kilmarnock or St Mirren. And I think Kilmarnock might just edge it over the 4 games.
Whoever ends up second bottom, do you expect them to win though, Barry, against whoever's coming up, Partick Thistle, Arbroath or the Pars? You're not sure?
Who knows? It depends on who they get. And in terms of Partick Thistle, they've been, I know they've tailed off the last couple of weeks, but they've been really good. Arbroath, look at them failing. Scottish Cup final. It's going to be interesting. I agree with Mark. I think it's going to be between Kilmarnock and St Mirren, and I fancy Kilmarnock to get out it because of their home form is so strong. They're really good at Rugby Park.
Billy's been on, big Rangers fan, often messages us saying, Barry, stop holding off. Tell us, what's your team? What do you think the team will be? Yes, he wants to know.
My team, what do I think the team will be?
Your team, and then I'll ask you.
I would go Jack Butland. I would go Tavernier at right back, Romans at left back if fit. I would go Fernandez, and I'm swaying between Dujon and Sterling because he's athletic, he's physical at the back, but I don't know in terms of Dujon's fitness. I hear the manager sometimes he has to watch his minutes, etc. I would imagine he'll go with the same back two. My midfield 3 was the midfield 3 that I said. Through the middle I'd go Chermiti, on the left Mikey Moore, and then there's a big massive question mark on the right hand side. Who do you go with? If it's me, I would go with Antman.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah. Why?
Pace. They play with back 3 Hearts.
And what do you think?
You need a bit of width.
What do you think Danny Rule will do?
I think he might go with Asgard on the right hand side. Yeah, and listen, he might not go with Connor Barney, he might play Chukwani, but I think he'll need to go with a 3 in the middle of the pitch at Tynecastle. I think it's so important there. You need to gain a foothold in the game, and that's generally where you get it, in the middle of the pitch.
Of course, Hearts so good at set pieces. You know that. I heard what you said about the back.
Yeah,
where they would play.
They are. That's one of their strong points. You don't want to give too many free kicks away because it's clearly something they work on, Hearts. And it's such an important part of the game. Set pieces. But again, you know they're going to get corner kicks. You know they're going to get free kicks. It's your concentration has got to be bang on the button when you're up against that. Certainly a team like Hearts. But It'll be interesting to see what way he goes. I just, as I said to you, I just always look at that midfield area, and you look at the midfield three with Devlin, Beningame and Leonard. They're three guys who can get about the pitch as well. They're pretty important part of the makeup of Hearts, Derek McInnes' team. But yeah, I think you've got to go a certain way against Hearts, and I believe that would be the best way to go. But what do I know?
Mark?
I think for Danny Rose, see, obviously the most important things to win, but for him as a manager in the eyes of the Rangers supporters, Paul, he's had a lot of criticism on the back of Sunday, obviously for the defeat, but for tactically being as some Rangers fans would say, being outthought by Askew, not spotting the danger quick enough and addressing the situation. And that's been an accusation levelled at him a few times this season. So I think for Danny Rowe and his staff, tactically, whatever it is they come up with, whether it's to come up with something different to surprise Hearts or just to make sure, as Barry said, I think at Tynecastle it's dog eat dog in the middle. It is, in that atmosphere. Bank holiday Monday, 4 games to go. It's a case of rolling your sleeves up, and if Hearts smell any fear, I think they'll take advantage. You need to show that there's proper competitors in the middle of the park. Now, if you can gain control of the engine room, you then give it to your Mikey Moore, your difference players, or Hearts try and get it to Braga, whatever it may be. But in that battle in the middle of the park, Danny Rule needs to call it right. If he doesn't, and it looks as though he's been tactically outthought by Derek McInnes and they lose a game, the pressure on him will increase no end in terms of the Rangers supporters.
And it's very tight. You know what Tynecastle was like? It's very enclosed. I would probably look at it and think I would want to try and make the pitch big as possible and try and keep the wide players, Mikey Moore, if it's an Antman, hug the touchline. Make Hearts... don't make them... Hearts are very happy when they're compact. Try and spread them a wee bit.
Use every inch,
Yeah, because it is a tight pitch. It's not the one of the biggest pitches in Scottish football. So I think you've got to try and outthink them a wee bit because you're not going to get many surprises from Hearts in terms of the way they set up, the way they're going to go about it. So, there's certain ways you would go. That's certainly the way that I would approach a game. And two of the boys for the middle of the pitch, and it would be Nico Dio, take off every time the ball goes forward. Just go, and you have somebody just patrolling behind them, and that would be Connor Barron. He doesn't move anywhere. You always stay behind the ball. You've got your two centre backs, and the two full backs can come in and make it a bit tighter.
If it's 0-0 deep into the game, Alex is on saying their fans will get nervous.
They will. Do you know what? I was thinking about it when I was talking there. Make the Hearts fans agitated because genuinely they're like that a wee bit. Hearts after the first 15-20 minutes, if things are not going well, you'll hear murmurs for the stand. That's what you want, and then that uneases the players. So that's the job you have to do. I always say the first 10-15 minutes of a game is so important, and it's going to be so important for Rangers. They need to get a foothold in the game. They need to grab the game by the scruff of the neck from that first whistle.
Listen, I know we don't know just now, but come kick-off time on Monday night, Paul, obviously Rangers and Hearts are going to know what the score was at Easter Road. Now, if Celtic don't win, even if they draw or if they lose the game, but if Celtic don't win, that could present a different mindset for Hearts. And I'm not saying they'd not try and go out and win the game, but a draw would really suit Hearts, on Monday night if Celtic don't win.
Let's go on the lines. Craig's on.
Quickly, you just go back to Rangers. There's no way going here and listen, we'll come away and you're happy with a point. You need to go there and get the 3 points.
Absolutely.
Plain and simple.
Here's Craig, a Hearts fan on the line. Hi, Craig.
Hi,
How you doing?
Hi, Craig.
I'm good. How about yourselves?
Yeah, good, thank you. Where are you?
I'm in Edinburgh.
In Edinburgh. So what are you thinking then? Huge game for you on Monday. You're looking forward to it?
I'm looking forward to a lot more than I was before the Hibs game. I was definitely really nervous going into that one, but obviously Hibs gave us a helping hand with decision making.
Sure did.
But I think this could be a crucial game. I think there's a lot more pressure on Rangers because I feel like if they lose this game, that's it. That's their season done.
Well, Barry Ferguson, who's with us here, as you know, said that early in the programme. We talked there about pressure. What are the fans saying then? Your fans feeling about it?
I feel like a lot of our fans are confident in going into this game and getting the win, just based on how good we have been at home this season for the most part. I mean, we've only drew, I think, 4 or 5 games. We've lost none at Tynecastle, bar the penalty shootout against Falkirk. But I think most of our fans are confident. And just bringing up the point that Barry had said about if it's going in 0-0 into the last 10 minutes, I think the Hearts fans definitely will be, I'd say, very nervous and just praying that we could hold it for the draw. But I think that would be the same in the away end, would it not?
Aye.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. I was just making that point because obviously you're going to have 95% of the crowd, Craig. That's all I was saying.
Oh yeah, no, 100%. Because I go back to the game against Dundee a few weeks back where we managed to eke out a 1-0 win with McEntee scoring late on, and before that goal, it was very nervous. There was not much atmosphere being made, but obviously we got the job done in the end. I feel like the atmosphere on Monday will be similar to the game against Aberdeen opening day, where the fans were right up for it. It was a renewed belief in what we could do this season. Because, I mean, if you had asked me at the start of the season, what do you think Hearts will do? I'd say finish third, maybe get closer to Celtic and Rangers, but to be in the position we are now, it's unbelievable.
It's also as well, Craig, you look at it and of all the permutations and all the results and all the guesswork that every Celtic, Rangers and Hearts support will be doing, and us guys in the media. Hearts, you are the only team out the 3 that can lose this weekend and still have the title in their own hands.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good point. And I just feel like, obviously it's not a guarantee, I just feel like everything this season has fallen into place. I mean, when Brendan Rodgers had left Celtic initially and then Hearts, we went to Celtic Park, and that, I mean, we were level on points with Celtic at that point. They had a chance to go top of the league, and then they brought in Wilfred Nonce, and obviously we won that game. But at the start of that game, in the first 20 minutes or so, I mean, Celtic could have been 2-0 up. So I think for some games this season, we've definitely rolled our luck, but over our course of 34 games, we definitely deserve to be top of the league.
And what would you say about Derek McInnes?
Oh, I think he's been absolutely brilliant for us. I mean, if you see all his interviews and all that he's done throughout the season, the Hearts job is a job that he's wanted for quite some time. And the fact that he's now got it, it seems to be the right fit.
He sure is. This was him speaking today. He's saying, look, we're not worrying about others, we're only focusing on the Hearts.
From my point of view, and I don't know how other teams are thinking, but I think everybody will feel they've got the performances in them to win a league at this stage. So we just need to concentrate on ourselves, not really thinking too much about what the opposition are thinking, and it's just about us trying to concentrate on the performance, and hopefully it's good enough on Monday to win the game.
Craig, you agree? Yeah.
Sorry, what was that?
I'm saying you agree with him. I could hear you saying 100%. Yeah. Listen.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with what you said. Yeah.
See, for the Player of the Year, people are saying Braga, Shankland, Just, and Maswinisi, I think, in there, is he? But who's your Player of the Year? You see Hearts every week or every other week. Who would you?
For me personally, it's between Braga and Maswinisi. Don't get me wrong, I love Shankland, but it's just, I think the fact that he was out for those 3 months and he's not scored as many goals as you'd think he would have this season. So I think it's between Braga and Maswinisi. And for me, I'd give it to Braga, obviously, with maroon tinted glasses on.
Yeah. He still scored the same number of goals as Braga, hasn't he, despite that long injury. And do you know what? Barry Ferguson, who's here, as you know, he wouldn't have been with you if he'd been the Rangers manager, because he wanted him to Rangers. And that what a piece of business that was last summer, the new contract.
I mean, yeah, I agree. I mean, obviously, at the start of the season, we didn't know what Braga and Kizza needed.
Yeah, how good they were going to be.
At the start of the season, re-signing Shankland was the best bit of business we could have done. And I mean, I was expecting Shankland to be away from the club. I mean, there was rumours of obviously going to Rangers. There was also rumours, I think West Brom were involved at some point. But I mean, I could be wrong, but I'm already saying he is a Rangers fan from childhood.
He is, yeah.
Yeah. With the wages and all that, I think he probably could have been swayed, but I'm glad he stayed.
Sure. Barry?
Yeah, I know a lot of people go on about it, and look, listen, I think it was a no-brainer.
Yeah.
You're getting a guy who knows the league inside out. I think as he's got older, become a better all-round player. And it's not just about Rangers. Even Celtic,
Celtic
for
could have come
instance,
in.
why would you not take? It's not even it's not a gamble. It's not a chance. You know what you're getting, and you're getting a guy who knows where the back of the net is.
Sure, Mark. The people running the clubs, they need to have a look at themselves. I know they've made changes at Rangers since then. Celtic, state of flux. We don't know what's going to happen, but there are people, Scots playing here, that just seem to be overlooked.
Yeah, I mean, Derek McInnes really couldn't believe his luck that he hadn't lost Lon Shanklin when he was getting in. So, but you know, Craig, as you'll be aware, that you know Derek really had to use his powers of persuasion to persuade obviously Lons to stay. He had options. I think there's no doubt it would have got over the line that Lon Shanklin would have been a Rangers player had Barry remained, if Barry had been given the job on a permanent basis. That deal would have been done. It wasn't. The new regime didn't fancy Lon Shanklin, so therefore he was open to offers, and Derek managed to persuade him that he was going to build something good. Now, would Derek and Lon have thought that, you know, 40 weeks later, with 4 games to go, they'd be top of the league with the title in their own hands? Probably not, but they've built something pretty special. And like I say, but just, you know, it's going back to the summer, you know, going back 11 months ago, the decision by the Rangers hierarchy not to give Barry the job was a serious mistake that they made, and they may well, we don't know yet, but come May the 16th, they may well pay the ultimate price of that by not being champions.
Well, that's true. Craig, before you go, any word on Craig Gordon? Then I see Charlie Adams in the papers today saying, hey, no matter what, as long as he's fit, he should be our number one choice for the World Cup. Any words?
I completely agree. Obviously, a Hearts fan, I love Craig Gordon to bits, but my one concern is for the future of Scotland, once he does eventually retire, where are we going to go?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a dearth of great keepers.
Is he back training, or do you know, Craig?
I'm not 100%. I don't think he is. I don't think he's back training quite yet. Because, I mean, the last few weeks it's been Ryan Fulton on the bench for Hearts.
So, but I think everyone agrees for the World Cup.
Yeah, listen, if he's fit and he's training, you've got to take Craig Gordon. You've got to take him at the World Cup.
If he isn't fit, I'd probably go Scott Bain, just for the fact that he's been playing football week in, week out.
That's true.
You've got Angus Gunn, who's currently he's sitting on the bench for Nottingham Forest most weeks, and then Liam Kelly as well, sitting on the bench for Rangers most weeks.
Sure.
Sorry, Craig, did you say, are you saying Scott Bain should be the number one at the World Cup?
I think if Craig Gordon's not fit,
No, that won't happen. No, that will not be the case.
Angus Gunn.
It'll be Angus Gunn. Yeah, it'll be Angus Gunn. And I think, I've total respect for Craig Gordon, I get it, but I think even if he's fit, if he's part of the squad, yes, I can see that absolutely take him as part of the squad. But for me, it's a no-brainer now, regardless of what happens with Craig Gordon over the next 3 or 4 weeks. I think Angus Gunn's your number one for the World Cup.
Craig, before
you definitely need to take him. That's a guarantee. You need to take Craig Gordon, because I mean, the fact that he wasn't at the Euros in Germany, I thought was the wrong choice.
Sure.
Anyway, I'm surprised.
What's that?
I'm surprised at that. Aye. Is it just the fact his limited games?
What, Craig Gordon? I just think now,
because Angus Gunn's played the last couple of games,
and he's been fine. And okay, I know he's not getting a game, but he's training. He's on his toes.
And Stevie Clark sticks with what he knows, doesn't he?
Yeah, but look, that's not to say it could be one of those ones where they all turn up at the camp. Bear in mind, you've got 3 weeks in camp before you actually kick a ball, or the game against Haiti. Craig Gordon might show up magnificently well and really impress Chris Woods, and he would get on. But I think right now, all things being equal, I'm definitely going Angus Gunn.
Craig, in Edinburgh, before you go, Hibs Celtic, what's your prediction Sunday?
I can't say anything but a Celtic win. I'm going to go 2-0 Celtic.
2-0 Celtic, that'll help their goal difference ahead of the game at the end of the season against you. And what about Monday? Are you going to the match?
Yeah, I'm going to the match, yeah.
Brilliant.
I'm going to go 2-1 Hearts.
2-1 Hearts. Well, Barry, that would be it for Rangers. If that is the case, it's going to be some weekend, isn't it?
It's going to be, listen, great.
Yeah.
The game on Sunday, Hibs Celtic, that'll be a cracker. But Monday, 5:30, that's going to be an absolute belter. Hearts Rangers.
Craig, great to hear you. I think first time caller with us. Stay with us. Come on another night and we'll speak to you whether or not you are champions. And your manager of the year, I think it has to be Derek McInnes for the one next week, isn't it?
Yeah, Sunday night, PFA.
Sunday, it's this Sunday, yeah.
Or is it the PFA
It's
one?
the PFA, yeah.
The Sports Writers one
Is
still,
Fortnight 16th.
Is that
17th rather, 17th.
has that been announced?
The voting closes maybe Tuesday or Wednesday week, so you can get one more round of games in before you need to vote.
Are they not going to do it on the last day? Come on, do it. Like, get text votes, surely.
Yeah, that's what I would do, Paul. But listen,
sure.
there's reasons why I'm not in the committee anymore.
Craig, I take it your manager of the year is, of course, Danny. No, it's
You calm down.
it's Derek. It's got to be Derek McInnes,
Yeah,
isn't
I
it?
think it will. I think it will be Derek McInnes.
Yeah,
I mean,
sure.
the one surprise for me is that Jens Bertolaski wasn't
Yes.
nominated.
Yeah, it's true.
It's a good point. Craig, really good to speak to you. Thanks so much for joining us.
That's right. Thank you.
Cheers, Craig.
Cheers, Craig.
Cheers, Craig.
0808 17 17 700.
Watch live at 5 p.m. weekdays on YouTube. Join the conversation on 0808 17 17 700. Talking Scottish football first.
Great to get that call from Craig in Edinburgh. Welcome to Britain, Craig. Good to come on Glasgow's Own. It's good to hear him, wasn't it? Brilliant caller, wasn't he?
Very good.
Really good, yeah.
Very good.
And seems confident in his team that they're going to get a good result on Monday.
Yep. Earlier on the news, we heard Louise with the story, Go Radio Today launching a major campaign. We want our trophy back. It's not football. It's following the news that the historic Lipton Trophy was stolen from Glasgow's Riverside Museum. Thomas Lipton, of course, one of the Gorbals' most loved sons born, just a stone's throw away from our studios. So with the station proudly based in the heart of the Gorbals, we want the trophy back. So to try to help that to happen, Go Radio is offering a £25,000 reward for information that leads to the successful recovery of the Lipton Trophy. Managing Director of Go Radio, Rochelle Clementi, says Sir Thomas Lipton is part of the Gorbals story and this trophy belongs to Glasgow's heritage. We're proud to be based here. We want the trophy back. If anyone knows anything that can help to bring it home, we urge them to come forward. So anyone with information relating to the whereabouts of the Lipton Trophy is encouraged to contact the Police Scotland directly. So well done, Rochelle. £25,000 being offered there if it helps to get that trophy back here in the dear green place. So much on the Go Radio Business Show Sunday morning, not to be missed. It's a special with some entrepreneurs, hospitality industry titans, because they're having such a tough time just now. In the real world, people are finding it really tough. Listen in and watch on YouTube or wherever you get your podcast on Sunday morning from 11. Sir Tom Hunter, Lord Willie Hockey. It's all happening. They're all going to be there on Sunday morning at 11. Just waiting to hear if there's any response from Rangers. We heard the SPFL earlier. Mark, we led with that. Celtic, basically the SPFL are saying they're going with Celtic's decision that they don't want the fans, the Union Bears, they don't specifically say this, but they're giving them they're recommending the allocation goes to Rangers with the stipulation that the Union Bears are not given any of the 2,500 tickets.
Yeah, a decision's been made by the SPFL sub-committee, Paul, and they have gone with Celtic's recommendation / request, and we have not had a response yet from Rangers, because obviously they would have wanted to have been free and able to allocate their tickets to whichever part of the support that they wished. But the SPFL, in a long-winded statement with a bit of waffling, but eventually we get there. And as I say, the key line is the subcommittee is determined that based on the evidence presented, it would not overrule a risk assessment carried out by the party legally responsible, i.e. Celtic, for the safety and security of the event. So Rangers will get their allocation of between 2,500 and 3,000, but they do so with the stipulation that they will not allocate any of those tickets to the Union Bears. We await Rangers' response because they have lost their appeal, and there's no doubt that they won't take this lying down.
And on the fans issue, Celtic supporters umbrella group, the Celtic Fans Collective, issued a chilly response to the Celtic chairman Brian Wilson's message, which came out last night after our programme. It says, for the avoidance of doubt, neither the Celtic Fans Collective nor any affiliated group have been consulted by Celtic FC on a new supporter engagement model. They say without meaningful fan input, any structure the club introduces will have no credibility from the outset. So that came out today. About Celtic, the game on Sunday then at Hibs. Let's hear from Martin O'Neill about the game.
No need to say, a really difficult task for us. They beat us at Celtic Park as well too, so I'm sure they'll want to complete a double over us in that sense. Big game for us, really, really big game.
Sure is. He spoke about the Dundee United defeat some weeks ago when many people thought that's going to be it for Celtic.
Oh, right, okay, yeah, I thought that it was big 3 points dropped. I didn't feel we were out of it at that stage. I just didn't, because I thought there were twists and turns, as it's been proved. But what it did do, it put us under enormous pressure to come and win our games, which we've done since that. Travelling back after the home international break, but the international break for the 2 weeks, then coming back to Dundee, the city of Dundee, to try and win that game, that was big. So yeah, I after losing at Tannadice, it was a long time to think about the game, really a long time. So it was 3 points dropped. It was a big setback, but I didn't think it was fatal.
It's been the season of twists and turns for Celtic and Rangers. So on Celtic, what are you thinking then? I wonder why that came up today. Somebody must have asked him about it. It seems a while ago, just before the international break. What was that, early March?
Yeah, I mean, probably, Celtic and back on the road, just to be mindful that, you can't take anything for granted, which is so true. You look at Rangers last Sunday, I don't think anybody really saw Motherwell winning that game. So it just shows you, Paul, as we say, it's a cliche, but we genuinely mean it. There are no easy games, particularly at this stage of the season, when pretty much everything is riding in the line.
What's your team?
The Celtic team, between what I would do and Martin O'Neill might do, Sinisalo in goals. I think it's one game too early for Alistair Johnson to start. Yeah. So I think I would go Ralston, Trusty, Scales and Tierney. And by the way, I would have Kieran Tierney as my Celtic player of the year, not the player of the year in the country, but the Celtic player of the year. I think he's actually been more than decent this season. Midfield three, few options. Hitate's in there, Oxlade-Chamberlain, but I would go McGregor obviously as the captain, and for this one start with Engels and Nygren, and then I would stick with Maeda as a number 9 and Yang on the right, and I would give a go to Tenetke on the left.
Can he step up to Tenetke? Actually do it when he comes on?
He can, yeah. I know he's been kind of labelled this kind of super sub sort of thing, or maybe not super sub, but he's got more influence when he comes off the bench rather than starting. So I get that point, because he's no lighting things up, but I still think that you could put Maeda on the left and start with Iheanacho. That's an option. But I think given the way Maeda has started as a number 9 in the last 2 games, St Mirren and Falkirk, I think you've got to stick with him as your number 9, and you'll get 90 minutes of him, so then you move him over and you bring on Iheanacho. Now, he started with Forest last week, you might stick with that again, but I think he'll mix up the wide areas.
Is that legs you've put in the midfield, that terrible phrase that people say, with Engels back?
Nygren, a lot of Celtic fans, say, all he's done is score 20 goals. What else does he do?
How many?
I get that point of view, but I think when you drill down into what he does, he actually does do a lot more than that. But I think he gives you good composure in the final third, and you need composure at this stage of the season. You can't panic, you just need to stay calm. And I think Nygren brings you that. Oxlade-Chamberlain brings you that, but I think he's more off the bench at the moment. And you've got Hitate. Hitate might really take a lot of spirit from the way his fellow countryman Maeda has risen to the occasion the past couple of weeks, and Hitate might think, I want to do it. There's 4 league games and a cup final to go before I leave in the summer, and I think he and Maeda will be away. I want to go out making my contribution and leaving a lasting impression.
Does the manager fancy him, as they say, Hitate? Because he did play well for a while, but he's just fallen out of things in the past month.
He's a right good player. I don't mean Barry knows better than me. Barry's a midfield. But for me, Hitate's a top player, but like Maeda, he's just gone off the boil, but it's not too late to make a really strong impression and help Celtic retain the title.
And is that the team you think Martin O'Neill will play?
Just a mixture of both, there's options there, but what's the big question? Who's your number 9? I'd stick with Maeda.
Barry, what do you think of that lineup, and what would you do if you were the Celtic manager?
I think that will be the team that starts.
Right.
I think it would be crazy if you don't start Maeda through the middle. The last 2 games he's been in fire. Let's be honest, he was in fire against Falkirk last week, so I'd be absolutely shocked. Yep, I would probably go with that team. The only one that would have a question mark over it is Tenetke.
Right. In Forest, you're thinking. I remember you always loved Forest. You always really admired him.
I don't love him.
No, exactly. Rephrase that one.
No,
here.
Listen, I believe. I'll be honest with you. If you're asking me about Celtic, I think James Forrest is the best wide player at Celtic at this moment in time.
Mark, do you agree with that?
I can't argue in terms of what he brings. And again, at this stage of the season, that word composure, I would just think. That said, he started, so I might say, well, why change a winning starting lineup? Let's go again.
Yeah, that's the only one I would probably say that might have a question mark over it. I think he'll stick to the same midfield 3. Yep, I get people about Nygren. He doesn't do much. You don't see much, but listen, he does the hardest thing in the game. and that's he makes some. If you actually watch some of his runs for the middle of the pitch, he takes up brilliant positions inside the box. So listen, he's a goal scoring central midfielder. They're hard to come by. They're a hard find. And I agree with Alistair Johnson. You seen him when he came on against Falkirk. Look, he did okay, but you could see he'd been out for a lengthy time. There's no doubt. So he's had another week's training. I wouldn't imagine he'll put him into the starting lineup at Easter Road. I think it would be the following week, probably in the Old Firm game.
Yeah.
Kieran's on, a Celtic fan, saying the goal difference is everything. He feels confident for Sunday. They know it's going to be difficult there. The record's not been great, but they're going for a title, 4 wins, and they can win it as long as they start to chip away at the goal difference mark. And that will be important.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's why I would imagine. I don't know if Martin O'Neill was asked today, or I know all he cares about is Sunday, and rightly so. But I think if you're looking at from a Celtic point of view, providing Celtic win, of course, Monday, I think your ideal result is a draw. For me, because if Rangers win, as he says, they're going to Celtic Park next week, Rangers would be reinvigorated because we're back in the title race. So, you know what, win our next 3 games, 99% we're going to be champions. Because of the goal difference that Kieran's mentioned, I think if you're Celtic looking saying what's the best chance of Hearts dropping points, I think it's Monday, because I think if they win on Monday, they won't look back. So yeah, I would agree with that. So that they need to drop points. But if it gets down to a last day scenario, Paul, if you to ask Martin O'Neill, considering he's been playing catch up both times he's been manager this season, if you to say Martin O'Neill right now, we'll give you last day of the season, you need to beat Hearts by 2 goals to win the league, I think he'd take that all day long.
But it's not the team that won it when they needed 40 years ago at Love Street. But listen, you're right, if it's 2 goals. Barry, obviously you're hoping Rangers will win, but if Hearts win this coming Monday, then head to head with Celtic, who would you fancy between the two to win the title? Difficult one, isn't it?
That is a difficult one. Yeah. I think if Hearts do win on Monday, which I don't think they will, but say they do, sure, I think they'll take so much confidence for that. Yeah. I think they'll be hard to stop if they come away with 3 points on Monday.
Is there any shadow of 40 years ago, or is that so long ago that it's kind of in the midst of time? The fact that you're thinking about it means it's not entirely out the way.
I just think they've got just the way that how they've went about their business this year, who's the manager, the way they're set up, the players that they've got in the team. He's got his main players back. Finlay, Shankland, Devlin. So yeah, I do believe if Hearts do beat Rangers on Monday, I think they'll be hard to stop.
It's if spots and maybes, Mark, but
it was involved. But I don't think they'll win in and I'm not just saying that
absolutely.
Way,
sure.
Because aside with Rangers, I do think Rangers will go there and get the 3 points.
And what's your scoreline?
Same as Derek, I was going to say.
Yep.
Hearts 1, Rangers 3.
3?
Yeah.
Right, okay. Did he say 3? I did say 3-1, didn't he?
Yeah.
I'll come back to you, Mark, on that. In fact, I want to throw to Barry. Kieran Tierney, I know you think a lot of him. You don't love him, but you like him. You don't hate him. Where's the barometer? Kieran Tierney, Celtic's Player of the Year.
Yeah, a good shout alongside probably the one that will be in the mix. I would probably say is Negrin with the 20 goals. There was a lot made of Kieran Tierney when he come back. Listen, he doesn't always play the full 90 minutes, but when he does play, look, there's no doubt he's a quality player, and he's been a big player for Celtic. Come up with another goal. He scored a few goals this year as well.
Has, yeah.
And it was a great finish. But who made the goal for him? Maeda.
Maeda, so you're right, assist,
sure.
Just been an absolute pest.
He is back, isn't he? He must be thinking, I've got 5 games to go, 4 League Cup final, and obviously he's looking at his value, because he was how much was it last year? People were saying.
How long has he got in his actual contract? Is it a year left?
A year or 2, but I think he's away. You need to just.
I think you need to cash him.
He'll be gone by the end of May. I mean, it's a good article in the paper this morning. Barry, I did try to get your daily record this morning.
So
It either hadn't arrived or it was 5 to 8 in the morning in the town. And actually, I met two guys who were working for the council. I know it's not
That's
a song.
been 20 years.
Well, do you know what? But that's exactly what. But it was Bell Street. That's what they were doing, guys. Seriously. And but the big guy was a Celtic fan. Smaller guy, kind of my height, was a Rangers fan. Must get their names. And they were just talking about it all. How did I get into that? Yeah, the record. Couldn't get the record. The Sun have got a good piece today, and it's about Celtic's turnover in the summer. Who's going to be going? Who's going to stay?
I think
it's so many.
I think it's a
It's
huge turnover.
Yeah. It's massive.
It's
Yeah.
And do you know, Paul, that's why I know Celtic have had a lot of criticism by a section of the support for signing up Scales, Forrest and McCowan.
Yeah.
And I said, well, how, it screams of a lack of ambition. Who's making the decision? What's the new manager going to think of this if it's not Martin O'Neill? But I said that for exactly the reasons that you're just about to read out. That's why you're taking headaches away from the new manager, whether it's Martin O'Neill or somebody else, from the hierarchy. As Barry will know, I'm not defending the Celtic hierarchy, but what I'm saying is there's so much to do. So if you can get work done early, now, by the way, see if the new manager doesn't like them, you sell them. You just move them on or whatever, you do. But you're keeping squad players. So all of a sudden, rather than saying, oh, do you know what, we've lost the 3 of them, so we now need to go and find another 3, good squad players. What you're doing is you're allowing the new manager, whether it be Martin O'Neill or someone else, to come in and say, okay, we've lost bump, we've lost 6 first team players. That's our focus. 6 quality players, the best that we can, without then having to go, and we need to bring in 5 or 6 squad players. So I think it's good work. I get why it's not sexy, but it's very, very good work to get that done in terms of what needs to be done all during the summer.
I know we're talking about Celtic, a huge turnover. I think there'll be quite a few in and outs at Rangers as well.
Hold that, Barry. Hold it, Mark. We're going to do that. Discuss that just after the break.
Scottish Gas. Watch live at 5 p.m. weekdays on YouTube. Join the conversation on 0808 1717 700. Talking Scottish football first.
Some great chat tonight with Barry and Mark. None of it actually on air, but some great chat during the breaks. Young John's watching. My young nephew, John Cooney, great rugby player now with Brive in France. And he said, Barry, I remember you well. You could have been a great rugby player as well, the way you'd kick. And John was a brilliant young rugby player. Played 11 times for Ireland. So he was on there during the break. So happy birthday to John. They're watching all over. LA, Ross King's
36.
watching. 36. Young John, yeah. Played at Leinster, they won the European Cup. And then
Superb.
he ended up at Ulster where he loved it in Belfast.
You've been to watch
He's
him
now
a
with
few
it.
times?
I have lots of times. I used to go over, stand up for the Ulster men. And so they'd always sing there. But that's another story. But not very proud of him. So a lot of big birthdays coming up as well. We won't mention them just now on air, but we will nearer the time. Barry, what did we miss in your column this morning? Because we're going to go back to
Just
this.
basically
Yep.
talking about the game on Monday and what Rangers need to do in terms of going to get the 3 points. Just everything I says on the show, Paul. You need to be fully committed. You need to go and try and quieten down the noise inside Tynecastle. And the only way by doing that is by grabbing the game by the scruff of the neck. And Hearts are going to be really physical. You need to stand up to that. It's plain and simple. They also have good players. The two that jump out is the two up top. You need to keep them quiet.
Yeah.
You know what Shanklin's like. He can hold the ball up, bring people into play. He's very clever footballer. And Braga, you're not going to get a minute's peace, so you can't dwell on the ball at the back. So look, I'm looking forward to it. But as I said to you, I firmly believe if Rangers have got any aspirations of winning this league title, they need to go to Tynecastle and come away with the 3 points.
Who'll be leaving Rangers over the summer? I'll ask you in a minute. Mark, at Celtic, there's too many to mention. The players going, definitely Schmeichel, Araujo, Arthur, Mvuka, who was he? Svan Chara, he disappeared, and Adamu. So most of them recent signings. To be fair to Kasper Schmeichel, what a first season he had for Celtic. Staying, Sinisalo, Duhan, Johnson, Ralston, Donovan, Tierney, Carter Vickers, Dane Murray, Trusty, Scales, McCowan, Jota, Forrest, Yang, Chinecti and Callum Osmond. Question marks they're saying around Callum McGregor.
Yeah.
Is he going to go to the Middle East in the summer? He did say something about the kind of ambition. I don't want to misquote him, but he's there. Sarachi, Celtic fans like him. Montgomery, Inamura, Navroki, Welsh, of course, doing well at Motherwell. Engels, Bernardo, Holm, Hattati, Oxlade-Chamberlain, Balikwisha, Nigrin, Maeda, Iheanacho, nearly there. Palma, Yamada, and Kenny.
Yeah, it's. I think there's a massive rebuild of it, and I think, Paul, that's part of my reason why I say they should give the job to Martin O'Neill, because he's been in the building and he knows. And I think, given the task of that, to have someone come in new, starting afresh, trying to get to know the staff, trying to get to know the hierarchy, assess the squad, and then you're right into European qualifiers, and then you've got first weekend in August, you're right into trying to win the league, whether it's to retain it again or to try and go and win it back from Hearts or Rangers. So yeah, and you look at that, I think Maeda and Hattati will be sold, so we've got a year each to go on the deal. So you might get that kind of money. You might get 5 million for Maeda and a couple of million for Hattati. Your two key ones would be Engels and potentially Nigrin.
Yes.
So in terms of
money.
chunky money, that's the two if you're wanting. Because if you look at the history of Celtic in recent times, they've spent, but they finance their own spending.
Yeah.
So they always sell to actually finance what they bring in. So you're looking at that, and then your natural wastage. There's 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 players there that you wouldn't miss if you get rid of them tomorrow. And then there's your kind of core of 4 or 5. But there's no doubt, whatever happens, Celtic need to bring in minimum 6 quality players. No projects, no this or that. 6 quality players who are first team ready. So what you've got to do, whether it's Martin O'Neill's list or Sean Maloney's list as potentially being a man upstairs, or the new head coach, for goodness sake, go out and try and get as many first choice players as you can, and get them in the building as quickly as possible. So huge job for everybody at Celtic during the summer, whoever that may be, from manager to hierarchy and recruitment.
And final point on that, is there any word on the manager? There's more chat this week about Robbie Keane. It's all speculation. It's not without foundation. We know that.
Yeah.
It's what Dermot Desmond wants will happen. Any word? Any inkling?
I would imagine that Robbie Keane's on the radar. Askew at Motherwell on the radar. Martinez names keeps popping up. I can't see Martinez at all because he's working, and you can't have somebody coming in the middle of July. That doesn't make any sense whatsoever. You need somebody in the building ASAP. That's why I think give it to Martin O'Neill. And Paul, I don't have all the facts and figures to hand, but if anybody wants to go and look up Martin O'Neill's record this season, it's second to none. It's better than anybody else in the league, for games, percentage ratios. So again, and you're we'll know in 3 weeks' time, but he could win a double.
Yeah.
Why would you not be giving him the job? I genuinely don't get it.
You had Craig, the Rangers fan earlier, the Hearts fan, who said that they were playing Celtic and the new manager came in, and of course they won the game.
You look at it, Martin O'Neill's not lost to Derek McInnes, he's not lost to Danny Rule, and yet Celtic this season in the league haven't beaten Hearts or Rangers, but Martin O'Neill's not lost to any of them.
True. Barry, who is going, and would you reckon this summer
I think
at Rangers?
I think there'll be a lot of changes at Rangers in terms of the squad. You've got Rothwell, Cameron, Danilo, Bajrami, Cortez.
Yeah. Wow.
You've got the 4 guys on loan. You've got, is it Cornelius, Giga, Moore, Aarons? That's 9 players. And there'll be another few players in amongst that. I just can't think off the top of my head. And then is there a crazy bid going to come in for Fernandez? For Nico Raskin? James Tavernier, is away. So, as well as Celtic, I think there'll be a lot of changes at Rangers as well.
And the manager is going to be huge for him. We'll talk as the weeks go on, but my goodness, this weekend for Danny Rule, he did sound, I kind of mentioned it earlier on, and Barry, it's difficult for you to say because it was a media conference today, but he didn't. If I was there, the chief executive, I'd be saying,
he
come
might
on.
just be playing a game.
Well, maybe, perhaps, I know.
A lot of people would think, he's
not. I know.
But surely he will be interested.
Of course,
no doubt. Listen,
and he's handled himself so well.
I would imagine that he's getting them fired up, and I would like to think the players in that dressing room understand what they're going into on Monday, and they're going into an arena where it's going to be difficult, no doubt about it, but you have to win the game of football.
Do you know what he said today, Barry? He said the team are in high spirits.
The good thing was we were disappointed on Sunday, but on Monday when I arrived in the building, the spirit was outstanding from the players. They were, of course, still disappointed, but when I spoke with the players, they were straight and said, no, we have still a big chance and we go again. And it was great to see. I had not the feeling that we, of course, after the result we were down, but we had not the feeling that someone gives up or thinks, no.
So nobody giving up. And he praised his striker, Chermiti.
I think...
This is what he said.
Yeah, honestly, for me is Yusuf one of the player who is exactly the role model for our development from October to now.
The role model for development. Minute left, Barry. Want to talk about both of them. Rangers.
See, in terms of that, I would expect you to be disappointed, but carry it into the game on Monday.
Yeah, the fire.
Have that feeling that you felt on Sunday after the game and Sunday night. I would never want to speak to anybody. Yep. I would want to go on that training ground and get prepared for what we're going into at Tynecastle.
What's your scoreline, Easter Road?
I'm going to go Hibernian 0, Celtic 2.
Mark?
2-1 Celtic.
2-1. And Mark, what do you feel then for Hearts against Rangers? We'll be here on Monday night, extended programme. What do you think?
Honestly, Paul, I can't see Hearts losing the game. I really can't. Home advantage. And they're at the top of the league for a reason. They're not there by... So, I'm going to go 2-2.
2-2. Barry, you said 3-1, and you and I'll be together on Monday anyway. So It's going to be some weekend.
Yeah, are we staying on longer?
Yes, we are.
Get that in the invoice sent.
Exactly. I hear James laughing. but
Don't
he's
tell
not happy.
Charlie.
That's it. Hey, Zoe Kelly's up next just after the news with Louise. Have a great weekend. We'll see you Monday at 5.